Perfect. We are live here with industry leader. I'm excited to bring you a special guest, Declan Spring. Here, this is my last broadcast of the day. I'm excited to have Declan on. We're saving the best for last, and Declan, I think really denotes what I think of when I think, when I created this podcast, industry leader. Declan really embodies what I see as a perfect industry leader, so to speak. He does a lot of things. His day job is a realtor, but he's also a podcaster. He's a photographer. He is great on social media. And you also recently won an award for your real estate work with Red Oak. I don't know if it was the Red Star. Did I get that right? Or we'll have you tell us a little bit about the award that you won. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Declan and have him tell us who he is. And if you don't mind commenting on that award, sorry to butcher that.
Yeah, sure, no problem. I think the award you're talking about is there's a monthly award given to somebody for something, something outside of just pure production. They tend to give like an Red Oak award to for some other reason. So I mean,
Okay.
there's like 170 agents at the brokerage. So there's only 12 of these a year. So it's nice to get one. It's usually recognition for other pursuits. And I think they gave it to me for some social media stuff and probably for the podcast. So I think it was for digital presence or something like that. So it was
Okay.
nice to get the recognition. So that's what that was all about. But usually in real estate and at brokerages, production is what's awarded, so I've been in among the top producers for, the last 5 years. So that's always fun.
Yeah, and you just make it look effortless too. I know you work very hard and we all get kind of burned out, but
Yeah.
I am curious about how you balance your work. This is I'm already going off a script because I know we got a lot to talk about, but how do you balance your kind of work life and your kind of just staying balanced, especially during COVID?
Yeah, I'm not sure that I do. I try, but I do have. I'm a believer in coaching, and so I've been in business coaching for years, and I would say that just like an athlete, which is usually the right analogy, for any good performance, you need a coach. So business performance is no different. And my coach uh, has a great gives a great talk about balance, and he says there's no such thing as balance. There's only balancing, and he said you picture the guy on the tightrope balancing. The goal is to try and make the arm movements less dramatic and just get a little bit tighter. But the act of balancing, it's a process. You're never balanced. That's a myth. And so I think if you think of it like that, you can be a little more forgiving of yourself, because truly being balanced is not it's not something that can happen. You can't achieve balance. It's a movement. So if that answers your question at all.
Yeah, that does. And, I just, a lot of your posts on social media resonate with me, how you talk about, keep going and staying strong and things, these times that we live in are pretty tumultuous, especially in the real estate field. So I really I admire kind of somebody else who we're almost kind of the same age and parts in our career that I think we can kind of learn so much from one another. And I do learn from you, and I admire
Yeah.
somebody else out there, especially as a fellow podcaster too.
Right.
And also your eye for kind of design too. I love your Zoom backdrop and some of
Yeah.
your fashion sense and your design sense too. And that comes across in your social media presence as
Well,
well.
you're a more prolific podcaster than I am. I admire you. Every time I see you, you're doing another podcast, and I'm usually maybe one a month or two a month if I'm lucky. So your ability to produce these is unbelievable, David. So thanks for that inspiration and encouragement as well.
Yeah, no problem. I have some secret tips I can share with you there. I am looking to move mine to some of the platforms that you use. I know I think I've seen you on Buzzsprout. You also are on Spotify and Apple Podcasts too. So I'm trying to diversify. I've kind of specialized in this run and gun style. That's how I'm able to put out so many. But with some of the newer ones, I am looking to broaden the exposure, so to speak. So.
Okay, yeah, good for you. Yeah, we can compare notes another time. I think it'd be useful for both of us. Yeah, because I do a more edited style of podcast, whereas you do a more live thing, and they're very different. You know, I'm not sure that I have the courage to do something live.
Well, you'd be surprised what you can get used to. So I think you definitely have the talent and the skill for it. Yeah, let's do go to lunch sometime, or I'd love to go shoot maybe a few photos over in Berkeley sometime
Yeah,
as well. Um,
I love that.
I am going to go back on the script here, and I just want to, um, I know you're a fairly modest guy, but I just wanted to, if you can just tell us the truth, so to speak, about what makes you an industry leader in a highly competitive field. I know the numbers don't lie. You're a top producer. You mentioned the business coaching, but what do you see really as your kind of secret to success, or what makes you really stand out in this field?
Well, I really think the coaching part is just so important, right? Because when I got into this industry really full time, it was 2007, and my second broker, my first broker in the East Bay, he saw that I was driven, and he recommended that I get into coaching because you can be driven, but without that direction, without again that coaching, it's like a sports analogy, and without that coaching, it's very hard to channel your energy without somebody who's experienced and is skilled at coaching. So I can't overstate the value of somebody believing in you and being more mature and understanding and making you be accountable to a system. After that, as long as you continue with the coaching and you do the smart things, you watch your performance, you look back over what just happened to try and understand how you can do it better. I'm very persistent. I would say persistent and consistent. And I also learned the value of goal writing. And I think goal writing is very, very important. And it's a skill. So lots of this stuff is something you can learn. And I'm a big believer in workshops and honing skills. So with coaching and then with some professional guidance and goal setting, short, mid-range, and long-term goals. And those are the things that really have made the difference. So it's over the longer term, then, if you keep it up, you get better and better, and you become, sooner or later, you look up and people are asking you how you did it, and you're like, I don't know. And those are the things that'll do it for anybody, though. You get help.
Yeah, we all do get a lot of help from our networks, and that's why it's such a beautiful business environment out here in the East Bay with some of the folks we know. And I know the first person who actually told me about you is, a business coach of mine, Corey Knott, who, just shares a wealth of wisdom with us both. And I think, coaching has really made the big difference for me too. And I do believe in the workshops and the goal writing, and I do still think it's really a minority of folks that still use those tools, because how do you stay focused in this environment without some of those
Right.
tools to keep you focused? So as
Right.
I loved how you talk about that misnomer of balance, that it's really about
Yeah.
kind of staying, it's like we're always on a tightrope, so to speak. We got to in order to move forward, we got to stay balanced. But
Right.
um
Right.
I want to shift gears a little bit. We're going to come back to industry leader, I do look forward to kind of carrying this message to other folks in our networks about how to be an industry leader, kind of learning from folks like you and what works for us and the people who we see as successful out there. But I did want to just ask you a little bit about this Bay Area real estate market, because it's such
Hmm.
a crazy beast, so to speak, about what are some of the trends that you're seeing out there in this market, and things that you might be noteworthy to share with our listeners today.
Yeah, well, it's been a crazy ride, right, since March of last year, when we all realized that everything was going to shut down. It was such a shock. Um, and so up until then, though, I would say since somewhere around 2012, um, and I work mostly in the East Bay, so along the 80 corridor, Oakland, Berkeley, El Cerrito, Albany. I When you say Bay Area, I'm really East Bay centric. So a lot of the trends in the East Bay will carry over into the rest of the Bay Area, but I'm a specialist in the East Bay. Just want to
Oh,
make that clear.
perfect.
You know, try and get this fairly concise if I can. Beginning around 2012, the East Bay market came back to life after the recession. So a lot faster than, huge swaths of the country and even of California. Um, but in 2012, we knew, okay, the recession's kind of over. We're getting busy again. And we have this chronic situation in the East Bay, um, where because of the geography of the place, we have hills on one side, we have the bay on the other side. Um, we have this situation where there's very little room left to develop, especially to develop and build single family homes, which are really what most people want and look towards. So our inventory of homes for sale in the East Bay is mostly homes from the 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s, and then you get some stuff from the 70s and 80s. But so what it means is that we have an undersupply of homes, and that fact started to rear its head in 2012. And we realized, you know what, we have an undersupply of homes for the number of people who want to live here. And so what started to happen beginning 2012 was you started hearing about multiple offers and bidding wars, and these phrases, which actually I don't like those phrases. I think they're incorrect. But the fact remains that there's a greater number of people trying to purchase homes than there are homes available for purchase, and that's a chronic condition in the East Bay, and it's difficult. So, you know, we go back to last year, COVID hit, and for a couple of months, the supply of homes went down. And at the same time, interest rates also went down. Now, interest rates relative to the last 15 years or so, interest rates are, I'm calling it a half off sale, because they've been more or less hovering around just under 6% relative, for the last 15 years or so. And now they're at 3%. So there's a half off sale in interest rates on loans, right? But at the same time, you have an undersupply of homes. So what happens to the property value? It goes up. So when you read in the media that property values are going up, you have to know that one of the reasons for that is that interest rates, money is cheaper, value of property goes up. You can't have both. You can't have cheap money and more affordable homes, right? So the trend right now is also that people are working from home more and more, right? And so they want more space in their home. They want backyards. They don't feel that, in our, tech driven, as in so much tech in our economy in the Bay Area, people want to, people can work from home. That seems to be a durable change. A lot of clients that I work with, 2 years ago, they never knew that they'd be working from home as much as they're being allowed to. And it looks like a durable change in that after COVID and, when we get back to more normal society, people will still be working from home. And so if you live at home and work from home, you need to have dedicated office space, right? Uh, you just have to have it. You need some backyard space. So single family homes in the East Bay became the the supply of homes has the supply of homes for the supply of homes for sale has more or less stayed the same, but the demand has gone up dramatically. So we have more buyers. We have just more buyers than ever, and about the normal number of homes coming on market. So what all of this means is the trend is that as long as rates stay low, and we don't know how long that'll be, um, it looks like the trend is if you're looking for a break in the if you're looking for a break in the frenzy right now, I don't think it's going to happen. Um, our economy is strong in the Bay Area. Our tech economy is strong, and there just seems to be an endless number of people who can afford homes. And as long as we have a chronic undersupply, which we will, who's going to build more? There's no more homes being built in the East Bay. You just have a kind of a finite number of homes, and which is a chronic undersupply is the trend, and rates will go up a little at some point, but the number of buyers that doesn't seem to be going anywhere because this durable change in people's ability to work from home, that's not going anywhere. So right now, we pretty much have, I prefer to compare 2021, I prefer to compare it to 2019. It's very difficult to compare this year's real estate market to last year's real estate market because, especially this time last year, it's incomparable. But if we compare this year to 2019, we really have about the same number of homes on market. But what's different is things that the absorption rate, the number of buyers is higher than it was in 2019. So we have the same chronic undersupply with the same volume of homes coming to market, but we have a higher volume of people looking to purchase in the East Bay. And that's just created a problem, especially with low interest rates. So it's a great time to sell. Not a great time to get into the mix if you're a buyer thinking there's going to be a break anytime soon. And what will change things will be when interest rates start to creep up. It's not going to happen anytime soon. It won't be an overnight thing. It'll happen fairly slowly into next year, and the effect on the market will be, it'll be very slow. It'll be a slow effect because nothing's going to happen overnight. So I think we're in this market for a while. Sadly, that's a fairly comprehensive answer. Hopefully anyone listening. Here's the thing. I love what I do. I really, really enjoy it. And when you talk about, being, an industry leader or somebody who's fairly good at their job, what makes the difference is when you really care about it, when you're passionate about it. And I just eat, sleep, live, breathe real estate, and I can't get tired of it. Like I have an indefatigable appetite for real estate information. And I think that kind of comes across too. And I think if you don't have that kind of passion for what you're doing, it's very difficult to cover any ground because it feels like an effort. So, yeah.
No, well put. That was a great highlight there. We might have to put that out as a little teaser for another segment there. I do think, and you saying that made me think of an anecdote of a person who you really helped out, who I know that it turns out, I'm going to leave him nameless for now, but he had a property coming to market that you investigated and did your research and found out that this zoning on this property can actually be used for multifamily, which dramatically increases the value of that property that you can get. And some of the things that you've taught me, the pricing of what think you can get for property is so important. You need somebody like you who really knows exactly what they're doing and knows what this market's doing, knows the potential that that property can hold. So if somebody was considering using you, or maybe a more average, so to speak, realtor, if they go with you, you really have your thumb on that market and are going to get them the most what they can get for that place, so to speak. So I did wanted to share that. And I also think I see that you've learned so much from your podcast based on our conversations together. I also have learned so much from my podcast. Could you just tell us a little bit about your podcast and kind of what you found of value from doing that?
Yeah. So I started the podcast. I conceived of it probably this time last year. Um, I wasn't getting out and about. We're a very the industry I'm in with so many realtors. It's a lovely industry in that we all compete with one another, but at the same time, if you ask any realtor who's been doing this for 6 years or more, you'll find that their best friends, most of their best friends are realtors. And because nobody really understands our lives like other realtors, right? So I love my colleagues in the industry. And one of the things we do is during the week, we spend an awful lot of time in one another's company touring homes. You probably heard of a thing called broker tour. And you get out and about and you visit property that's coming on the market for the benefit of our clients, and we check things out and we talk. So everybody in my industry, we talk to each other a lot because that hive mentality is so important. It's critical for our clients, right? It's critical for the market that the agents are talking to each other. Anyway, in the absence of all of that kind of networking, I was just kind of lonely. And I decided that I conceived of the podcast as being a place where I could talk at length to people I admire in the local industry, and then I could share that conversation out with all the other agents that I suspected were probably hungry for a conversation and hungry to hear how are things going for other agents, how. So that was it, and I really enjoyed it. And I have learned a lot. When you first get into business, some of the advice you will get from wise people is to go and take people to lunch. Take people you admire to lunch and ask them, how they do business. Ask them how they become successful, right? And so my podcast was like a version of that. I sit down with people I admire and I ask them questions. And what I've learned is the value of questioning people. Uh, You know, there's conversation is one thing, but what I noticed with my podcast, when you put a mic in front of somebody and you ask them a question, the generosity of the share of information is unbelievable. Without the microphone, there's something else. There's something, the informality of, say, a lunchtime conversation. I was getting a better quality of conversation when there was a microphone involved. I've just found it to be extraordinary. It was like having a key, to the secret door opened, and so I'm so grateful to all the people who've been on my podcast and who choose to be on the next episodes. But I've learned a tremendous amount, and so selfishly, it's been I get to learn things that I want to know, but then I try and share that information by allowing the conversation to go live on the podcast, and I hope that other people learn from it too, because you can learn from books, right? There's all manner of ways of learning, but asking direct questions of somebody who's generous enough to respond to that specific question, it's unbelievable. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's changed my life. I have literally changed aspects of how I approach business just based on the generosity of the information shared by my guests. It's unbelievable. My coach says, and I love this, more is caught than taught. And it's so true. Somebody can teach you to death, but then then you just hear something in conversation that changes everything. More is caught than taught. And that's a philosophy that I live by. I like to try and catch things. People will tell you things they don't even know they're telling you something important. But if you catch it, it's a beautiful moment.
Great. That's another highlight reel there. Bit of wisdom from Declan. And I think, what you said there a lot really resonated with me. I think one thing that's so unique about the real estate industry is that realtors like and learn from other realtors, which makes it so different from a lot of industries where people are seen as kind of butting heads, kind of like the strongest will survive. And, that I love this old tape from Earl Nightingale that a lot of times you kind of destroy each other in that with that kind of mentality, and you're both laying in the sun, getting bleached by the sun, so to speak. So we actually want to learn to work together and learn from each other. And that's what I love about realtors. I consider them really the top of the food chain. I call it that. If you look at what realtors do and their success principles, they are just, such great folks in terms of their business savvy and their mindset. And I see that in the industry. They're also really leaders in the community because, they want what's best for the community. That encourages better home values, but also they're really invested in the community, so to speak. I don't know if you have any comments on that. Further
Yeah,
comments.
I am, I'm Irish. We tend to be born cynical, and then you have to get the cynicism knocked out of you at some point. Um, but we're a cynical bunch. But uh, I mean, I am endlessly impressed by the colleagues, in my industry. The generosity. It's a strange dynamic because I might be writing an offer on a property tomorrow, and there'll be, there's right now in the East Bay, there's an average of 6 offers written on property, right? That's the average. So I know when I'm writing an offer on a property tomorrow, I'm probably going toe to toe with maybe one, two, or three agents that I know and respect. Um, but at the same time, they're my friends, and we all learn from each other. It's unbelievable. I just have so much respect for other agents, and they're, they're it's underrated just how valuable good realtors are to the community, in my opinion. There we go. Yeah. Mm. You got something going
Well,
on?
well put. Sorry, we just had a house guest come in here, and that
Sure.
we are just going to wrap up shortly. I did want to ask you about your impressive social media presence. I just see that you're really unique in how you use social media for business in the real estate field. Could you just tell us a little bit about that, and if your social media savvy has contributed to your professional success?
I don't know that it's contributed in all honesty. I really don't know that it has contributed, but I enjoy it, you know. So it's not necessarily a business strategy. I just happen to like it. You and I are both, you know, I mean, you're a professional photographer. I'm not, but I like photography, and yeah, I like Instagram. I'm kind of fascinated by Instagram. Um, I use it. Um, I experiment on there. I like the reels. Somewhere along the way, that just the posts became, I think, less valuable than now. You have reels or stories, and I've been using those a lot more in the last 12 months. They didn't even exist a little while back. So social media is very dynamic, and how it moves. It could be different in 2 years again. But I'm curious about it. And I don't find it difficult to post on social media. I like it. Um, and I happen to like photography. I don't know. It seems like I'm just fortunate in that things I enjoy doing exist well in the social space, and I'm happy to use the social space. It doesn't hurt me that I use it, but I know other agents who use it a lot better than I do, and I'm always itching to learn from them. But Yeah, it's an interesting thing. Um, I try and do something that feels true to myself. I think that's all you can really do on social media. You try and be true to yourself. If it doesn't feel authentic, I don't think it works. So if you can find an authentic voice on social media and you're consistent and persistent, I think it can add to what you're doing.
Yeah, well put. And I think some of the posts that I find the best from you are the ones that are just your artistic photography side. And you had some great posts over the weekend with those lights coming through there. I don't know if you were using some effects, but it looks like it was
Yeah,
really out of a highlight reel of photography books. You know,
yeah,
the pathway with your girlfriend with the
yeah.
blurred, and then it's just beautiful composition, lighting, and colors there. So those were even in keeping with your color scheme there that you have.
Uh, yeah, so that's got nothing to do with real estate, right? But people seem to like when I take pictures when I'm out walking. I'm a big advocate for taking a hike in Tilton Park. I want everybody to go and hike in Tilton Park, and so I'm always pushing that idea on people, and so it's really got nothing to do with real estate whatsoever.
Great. And I did want to wrap up here in a minute or two, and I'd like to end with who your ideal client is. I know it's a busy time, but who out there are you looking for to work with out there in the real estate market?
Yeah, no, it's a very good question. I'm, a good client for me is somebody who is eager to collaborate, eager to let me know about them, and eager to understand my best advice to help them. And so together, we're gonna, it's a project, right? You sell a house or you're trying to buy property. That's a project. I call that a project each and every time, each new client. And how are we going to collaborate together so that their, mutual success is assured? You do well, I do well. I'll get referral business from you if you're happy. So my ideal client is somebody who'll be open with me and trust my advice, and we'll collaborate. So the idea of collaboration, where where their voice is important and my professional know-how is valuable to them, but we learn from each other. So I don't know if that helps.
No, perfect. That's really a top thing that I look for too. So um, part of why we get along so well too. I think we collaborate well together.
Yeah,
So good. Well, I'm going to end it there, and I'll put the links to how to schedule time with you if folks do have a property or a collaboration that they're looking at. I appreciate all your collaborations with folks in our network over the months too. I know we can all help each other, and I see you as a key person in my network. And
yeah,
thanks for all your help and for people I know as well. And hopefully we can carve out that time to get together soon. And
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Come on over to East Bay. Let's go to like Gather in Berkeley is one of my favorite spots.
Okay, beautiful. Yeah, my sister, that's her favorite restaurant over there. Yeah.
Yeah, I owe you lunch over here at Gather. Then just let me know. We'll get it together. Thank you, David.
Sounds great. Well, we'll talk soon, Declan. Thanks a lot for coming on.
Oh, all right.